What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back. It's your boy Blue, and today I'm going to show you how to quickly start up the CL-415 Super Scooper, how to pick up water, how to drop water, and how to successfully complete an extended attack aerial firefighting mission in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And as a bonus at the end of the video, I'll show you how to find and how to unlock more firefighting missions. Okay, key bindings that you're going to need for firefighting in the Super Scooper are toggle spray and firefighting mission toggle scoop or doors. That is by default the Z key on your keyboard, but I have this also bound to my yoke or my flight controls. And this next one is not important to everyone, but anyone who doesn't want to have the big visual markers and like flying gates, you can go to toggle visual assistance display. This works not just in firefighting, but all throughout career mode. I have it bound to H for myself, but by default, I don't think it's bound at all. The next one is validate and quick reply. Now it does actually prompt you on the top of your screen to actually quick reply to ATC or whatever, but I have this bound to my flight controls to make it easier. This next one is literally a lifesaver. In this video, I'm going to show you how to complete the firefighting mission and how to avoid losing your engines during the flight. But if you don't follow my instructions or for whatever reason you still find yourself having an engine failure, you can use the repair and refuel key binding that will instantly repair your aircraft and refuel it in air, and this does work in career mode. It's not bound by default, so you have to bind it yourself. Mine is Control Alt something. There you go. You're welcome. Obviously, you need all your axes set up already, but in addition, you're going to need the throttle 1 decrease and throttle 2 decrease. You can put the engines into reverse in case you need to. And if you only have one throttle axis, you can just use the throttle decrease option. And lastly, we have propeller 1 and 2 axis. This will help you kind of manage your engine throughout your flight. And my first bit of advice before you even accept the mission is go into the briefing screen and click on free camera, and then you can use your keyboard and mouse or your Xbox controller, whatever you choose, and go actually scope out the area. The fire I'm not too worried about. I'm mainly concerned about the scoop area. Now you want to make sure that the scoop area that they gave you is actually sufficient, that it's actually large enough for you to comfortably land and take off with a heavy water load. And trust me, I'm saying this because there's been multiple missions that have been generated for me where it was basically impossible to take off and land in the area they gave me, especially when you're up in the mountains. So here's our scoop area here. Looks like it should be large enough. I would wish it was a little bit bigger, but I think this will do. Another thing that I'm paying attention to here is what direction is the wind blowing, which way are the waves going. So the waves are coming at us, right? So in the direction that I'm facing right now is the direction that I want to take off. And so we're gonna land and take off in this direction, basically left to right when entering in the scoop area. So that's what we're expecting. This should be the weather setting that we have. But again, make sure you take off land into the wind and that your scoop area is large enough for you to possibly do that mission. So let's go ahead and get the aircraft started. So here we are in front of the CL-415 Super Scooper. We have us a extended attack firefighting mission, and if you're doing this like in free flight, somehow you may have chocks and flags attached. Make sure all of that stuff is removed before we get into it. So I'm going to show you guys how to really quickly start up the CL-415. It's actually very easy. It looks intimidating, but it doesn't take long at all. If you don't want to start the aircraft up cold and dark, you can skip forward or use Control E. Pressing Control E never actually hurts your final mission rating, but skipping any stage will lower the income you get for that flight. So to start it up, we go to the left here and make sure that our condition levers are in the cutoff and our engines are over here at the ground idle position. And then we're going to go to the overhead and click on battery 1 and battery 2. After that, we can continue up here and we'll get our amber strobe light on, anti-collision lights, and nav lights on. Back to the top, we're going to go to the ignition here and go to either A or B. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to use B. Put it into the normal position. Make sure that your starter is in the normal position, and then go to select, and we'll select the right side engine by clicking and dragging to the right, and then we'll go to the RH pump, turn that on, the pressure light will go out, and then all we're gonna do is click and hold start. Now I'm holding that down my left mouse button. I'm gonna look down here and we're looking for 10% on the NH, there's 10. I can let it go now. And we're going to take our right condition lever and put it to start feather. And we're starting up. Once your NH reaches at or above 46%, you can now continue and go to the top here. I'm going to go to our generator and go to reset and on. And then we'll go back down to the starter. We'll put it into X start or cross start by dragging it up. We'll select the left engine here for left select. We'll click on LH pump and then click the starter again. Click and hold, same process. We're looking for 10% here on the NH. There's 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10. I can now let go and drag our condition lever to start.
Teams on site for hours near the district, and they're calling for air support.
All right, and once the NH again is above 46% or above, we can then continue through our checklist. Back up to the top, we'll get our starter mode from X start back to normal, and then our ignition from B or A to off. Just make sure B and A are set to off. And then we'll go to our generator up here, and we'll do again reset and on. That in-op light should go out, and you're good to go. All right, now we can actually move the surface lock or the control lock forward. We can then have control over our throttles, and we'll do our flight control check. Very important to do, just to make sure that you have everything working and bound. After you've done your flight control check, we'll go down here to the center pedestal, and we're going to click these elevator button, the mode, and mode. That should say manual all the way through. Next, we'll check our trim. There's two different places you can see the trim. There's trim here. There's your aileron trim, elevator trim, and rudder trim. And it's also right here. So you want to bind your pitch trim up and down, but it's also right here on the yoke. After those checks, we can go ahead and take our prop levers and move those full forward to max. You see our RPM climbing up. We'll also set our altimeter, which is going to be right down here on this knob. You can also press the comma key to sync your altimeter to the current weather. We'll then go down here and get our transponder set up by clicking on this little button next to the transponder, and there's standby. If you want to change it, you can use this dial here. We don't need to in career mode. And that's it. Startup is complete. We'll go ahead and announce taxi and head over to the runway.
Kilo Delta Quebec Hotel, traffic blue Foxtrot Delta Tree 9er is taxiing to runway 4.
All right, and we'll go ahead and get our flaps down to 10 degrees. That's 1 notch. Your flaps are right here. It shows you where the flap is. So for takeoff, it'd be 10, and for water pickup drop, it's gonna be 15. And so 15 is the second notch of flaps on your flap lever. All right, back up to the top. As we are ready for taxi, let's go ahead and get the rest of the external lights on. We'll get the anchor light, fuel pressure light, seatbelt signs, no smoking signs on, external lights on, and the taxi light on. All right, release the brake, and we're ready to go. I'm gonna add differential thrust, so we'll put only the left engine to help us with a nice sharp turn. Now be aware, sometimes they do put you in some awkward places in career mode. And airport or the runway, just 0.81 nautical miles away. Be very careful when you're taxiing, because there is no indicator anywhere telling you what your ground speed is. And the moment you go above, I think it's 20 knots, I believe, you will get docked for taxi speeding. And again, I have H bound to hide the guides, so I'm going to hide that because it breaks my immersion. Go ahead and park here in the box for runway 4. Airport's uncontrolled, so we'll be able to just announce our intentions and get right on out of here. So we'll go ahead and wait for that to acknowledge. Announce takeoff.
Delta Quebec Hotel, traffic blue Foxtrot Delta Tree 9er taking off runway 4, departure to the south.
All right, for departure, you want your landing lights on, of course. There we go. And another tip is you're gonna want your engines in continuous ignition for takeoff, for landing, for water landing, and for flying through smoke as well. So, in all those phases of flight, you want your engines in continuous. All right, our flaps are set, landing lights are on, runway is clear, and we have announced takeoff, runway 4. There we go, lining up on the runway. And I'm not gonna go full throttle. I'm gonna go as much. I'm gonna go up into right beneath that yellow. So go ahead and throw our throttles forward. Holding the brake still. There we go. Bring the throttle back. And that's good, around 90-ish%. And that's plenty to get us in the air. I'm gonna hold the center line. Airspeed is alive. I'm gonna rotate around 88 to 89 knots. There we go. Just lightly pull back on the yoke here. And there we go. We are up. Positive rate, gear up. Now, as we climb out at about 100 knots, you notice I did not extend my throttle all the way to full throttle because some of you may have noticed, it might be the reason why you're watching this tutorial, is that you often will have an engine malfunction at some point throughout the flight because you basically kind of overheated or over torqued your engine, and it's very sensitive. In my opinion, maybe a little too sensitive, but that's whatever. But the way we work with that is we have to really manage our engine.
North, 82 West. The ATGS is taking the lead with the coordinator on the ground. Tech 8 is your sky contact for the first drop.
So go flaps up as we're turning around, and I'm gonna hit my H key here so I can see the actual flight path. Now, personally, I don't like to have these flying gates in the air, but sadly, when it comes to the firefighting mission, they do kind of grade you based on the angle that you hit the fire, how you approach the fire, and things like that. So it is kind of important to actually, roughly follow the flight path that they define for you. I hope they change that in the future, but at the moment, that's the way it is, and that's what I have to work with. So I have it turned on just so I can kind of get myself in that direction, and then usually I just turn it off so I don't have to stare at it the entire flight. But again, the very important thing with this mission and actually having a successful mission and coming back to base at the end is managing your engines and making sure you don't over torque. You don't need to go full throttle for this aircraft to take off on land or on water, and I'm going to prove that. Alright, as we approach the fire, we're going to start our descent. We're about 3 miles away. I'm going to start bringing my throttles back. You could also even bring your propeller or your condition lever back as well. You do want to keep everything in the green and out of the red. We're a little fast at the moment. A little fast, so we're going to bring it down. We want to be around 100 knots at flaps 15 for our approach.
Thanks for coming fast. We're here to support you in your attack. Do you have the fire in sight?
Yep, fire in sight.
Tech 8 blue. Okay, we got it. Guys, max 6 drops. Your tanks are already loaded, clear for first drop. Gotta work on the right flank.
Alright, let's see. So, it looks like they want us to actually attack from that angle. That's why I was saying that it's important to have those gates up, because I could have attacked it from the angle I was in, but for whatever reason the mission wants me to attack from this other angle. So we're going to make a hard right-hand turn here, and we're actually going to go through the approach fire point waypoint over there, which as soon as we fly through it will disappear. It's important we have eyes on. I'm also going to continue to keep that speed back. I want to slow down and get slow enough to go flaps down. I think you could do flaps down around 120, 130. So there's 120, 110, sorry. There's flaps 10, or the first notch. And then flaps 15, the second notch. By adding power in now, because we're now at 90 and getting a little slow to make this left sharp turn. You do not want to stall. Again, still watching our torque. You do not want that to stay in the yellow for too long. We'll add a bit more prop as well. There's a little bit more power. And there's our fire. Hard left turn, you can see, has the instruction on the top right. So 100 knots, 110 knots, and 100 feet above. Alright, we are now approaching from the correct angle. Let's keep our speed down. We're just going to point our nose at the drop point. We can hide that as well. Just like that. Flaps are down, ignition switches continuous, and make sure, very important, you arm your water drop controller. In career mode, you always have 50% water at the start of the mission. After we drop this load, we'll go get some more. Alright, here we come. We're 110 knots, approaching the flames. Watch out for the smoke too. My fingers on the button. 3, 2, 1.
Ready,
Drop.
ready,
And
drop.
pull up.
Complete.
Again, watching the torque. You do not need to max throttle at any point at flight. Alright, top right is showing us how much
It's a
we
good
extinguished.
The ground team can launch the operation.
And a
Great.
good line. Good, good. Alright, we're gonna go into our scoop area, which I think is off our nose
Copy
somewhere.
that, Blue.
Yeah, 8 miles to the right. And at any point, if you don't want to
Coordinates
fly
for the scoping site, 31 north,
back
82
and
west.
forth to the scoop area, you can always again hit Alt-N to skip. The only downside of that is that you will lose the no skip bonus, but it's not that much. It's really not that big of a deal unless you own the firefighting company. Alright, as we briefed, we believe that the water should be going left or right to left, and that is still true. So I'm going to go ahead and bank to our left here, lowering our power, looking for 90 knots this time. The same configuration as when we dropped the fire, or dropped the water on the fire, which is 15 degrees of flaps, which is notch 2. And again, you want to land in the wind. We don't have a very large lake here. And a couple other things we're gonna do. Again, ignition into continuous, which it is from earlier. We have our auto feather turned to select. Our water drop is in standby, and that's all that's really important for that phase. Alright, flaps coming down, notch 1 and notch 2. We're a mile away from the water. And power, power. Yeah, not a big lake. We're gonna try our best to get down there. Alright, I'm gonna add some rudder. It's gonna help me lose speed and get a better angle. Alright, let's get it. Alright, we're
Now
down.
for scooping.
Alright, probes are open by pressing the same button we use for the water drop.
25%.
I only want 50% though, there's 50. I click the button again, close the probes, take off power. Start putting a little bit of back pressure, let that nose come up, get in the ground effect. There we go. So you see I'm still not in the red, I'm just at 92%
We don't
torque.
have a full load. Either top up or drop what we've got.
We do not have a full load, and that is the trick, guys. That is the trick to actually getting back in the air. If we were to take a full load, it's very likely we would not be able to take off, especially in such a small area. That's the stall horn. Watch out for that stall horn. Once you kind of get above those trees, you can kill the flaps and start flying back out to the approach point for your second attack. Main thing, do not take 100% water. Take max 50 to 60% water. Alright, we're approaching about 2 miles out from the west. That power is coming back. And same process again. We have 50% water in the tanks. Make sure that you arm your water drop controller. You want to be continuous on the ignition. Flaps 15, that's notch 2. Give you nice and good control. Point the nose right over the fire, right over the drop point. And you want to press the button just as you pass the blue bars of the entry of the drop point. And get as low as you can without hitting the trees. And then throttle up. And drop.
Water away.
There we go. And that should be, hopefully, a good line. Yep, good line.
That's it. With this one, the ground unit is progressing well. Blue, back to fire site. Blue Tech 8, roger. Captain, for the last drop, attack the head and knock this fire down.
Alright, they want us to attack the head of the fire. This is our fourth and hopefully final attack. We got about I picked up a decent amount of water that time. I did struggle to take off on this one, but we got about, I want to say 80% of water load on board. Let's go ahead and bring that power back, arm our water drop controller. You do want to be careful. It does take time for this aircraft to lose speed, and if you kick the flaps in too early, you will sadly get docked for putting the flaps out. So what I do is I kind of kick the rudder, put it into a bit of a slip, have lose some speed, and our speed is down to 110 now. There it is. All right, here we go. Final turn, final run. Gonna hit the head of the fire, the front of the fire, and we're hoping to go ahead and extinguish this baby right here and now. And 3, 2, drop.
Load released.
There we go. How do we do? Looks like
I'll
we
radio in the
just...
drop status as soon as the visibility gets better.
We might have just barely
This
not...
final drop was spot on. Right on target. Grats.
Oh, we might have to hit it one more
The
time.
people of Pearson will return home soon. Head back, team. The ground unit will finish the job.
Oh, we're good.
It's under control now. End
Nice.
of the mission, Blue. Good work. Fly home safe.
All right, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, mission complete. Time to
We're
RTB.
headed back.
Okay, his head is in the way, but we are on a right base to final. Back to the runway. Flaps are already 15 at the moment. Landing lights are coming on. There we go. Gears coming down. And we'll go flaps full for landing and bring it on in. A little bit of a crosswind, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Wind's fairly calm today, and we are low. Little power. There we go. And put her on a number. We're down. And just for fun, we'll hit the reverse. It's also very helpful, honestly, if you're on like in a very small body of water and you need to turn around or stop very quickly, to use those reverse thrusts. They're very powerful. But welcome back to base and mission success, guys.
We saved the zone. Everyone there is relieved, but I assured them it was just another day in the hero business. The
All
wind
right,
direction
brakes
is
are all
important when you
set.
drop
We'll
your
bring our
payload.
condition levers back to
Check that
cut
in your
off.
stats to improve your next intervention.
And we
Your drop
are
axis should currently be into the wind,
all
heading 281 degrees true.
I know a lot of people have been struggling to complete these missions. I know I did, so I spent some extra time trying to figure it out and figure out the aircraft, and hopefully this was helpful to you. Enjoy aerial firefighting. Thank you for watching. Oh, look at that, 100%. And we got an S rank. Let's go. And as a quick bonus, I've been getting this question a lot actually lately, and that is, how do you find firefighting missions? And it is a bit tricky. Once you get the specialization, let's go back to HQ, and I'll show you really quickly just kind of the tree on how to unlock it. So obviously, you got to get your certification first. To get unlock firefighting, you got to get your scoop endorsement, which you got to go through, you know, your pilot license, high performance, turbo engine prop, get your scoop endorsement. And then I believe you also need to get either your turboprop airline transport pilot rating, I believe is the one you got to get to actually fly the CL-415 itself. But once you have your ratings correct, you can then go back to your HQ here, go to your specializations. And then the first one you're going to unlock is going to be the aerial firefighting initial attack, and that's flying the AT-802 air tractor, which gives you a lot smaller fires to attack. Very easy for the most part, but you have to do 10 of these. Once you do 10 of those, you will then unlock the aerial firefighting extended attack, where you get to do the large fires, and you also get the CL-415. But there's one other thing you got to consider besides that, because you will get like an initial extended attack mission out here in California somewhere, which you can complete. Once you complete that, there's no promise you'll see more. And the reason that is because you need to have your rating, I think, above a B to actually kind of spawn in any like, you know, extended attack. So I still have a lot of the initial attack missions, but I should, because I have I think an A rating, I believe, I should actually see these pop up a little bit more often. So there's another one right there in Mississippi, and that's just for me. And over here, I have, you know, initial attack, initial attack. There's another one there in Georgia, or that might be some other state. I don't know. But yeah, the point is you have to do more firefighting missions to unlock more firefighting missions, and you have to do well in those firefighting missions. So if you're going to fail it or have a really bad rating, I recommend just restart. Make sure you get the best rating possible, so that way you'll get and unlock more firefighting missions. And they only respawn, I think, once a day. So if you screw up that one mission you got, then you probably won't see another one for some hours or the next day. So that's basically the way you unlock more. Some of the hot spots that I've personally seen so far, at least in this time of year, have been kind of like the mountainous areas around California, Oregon, Pacific Northwest, as well as I've been seeing a lot of stuff happening in Florida for some weird reason. I also got a couple popping up around Louisiana, Mississippi. I got a couple in Texas. There's a bunch in Australia. So if you're looking for some firefighting to do over here in southeastern Australia, you could pop up over there. So those are some of the places I've been finding the firefighting missions. But again, you need to make sure that you get your rating up. Make sure you want to have it above a B. A is probably preferred if you want to find a bunch of the extended attack with the CL-415. So hopefully that's helpful to you. That's a little bit of a bonus for those who are struggling to find firefighting missions. Well, until next time, remember you have 3 choices: give up, give in, or give it all. You got peace, love, and God bless you. I'll see you guys next time, next video. I'm out.